Oh
All
yeah.
right. So, guys, that's Mitch. I'm Jacob. Well, 9 picks of football, and for, I'm in recovery after watching this weekend. I'm doing well. I'm doing better. I never want to watch Dino Babers call plays in the fourth quarter or the second half ever again. We'll talk about that because he is the worst play caller in big games of all time that I've watched. But let's get to something that everybody wants to look at. Everybody wants to see how cheap they can get to go to a football game this weekend. If you are looking for a football game, we'll get you the cheapest ticket. Right now, I'm seeing, oh man, if you want to watch the absolute dumpster fire that is the Florida Panthers, whoo, you could go there for as cheap as $6.
There you go.
They're playing Louisiana Tech, who's a bottom dweller in the Conference USA, and they're probably still 30-point favorites against FIU. Yeah, I was doing FIU stat sheets today. I didn't realize they lost 73 to nothing to Western Kentucky.
Ooh, boy.
But they're still favored against Charlotte, if that tells you about Charlotte. Oh, how
Ooh.
about some Sun Belt action? You've got Georgia State versus Old Dominion as low as $4. That might be the lowest ticket I'm seeing. Where's the Northwestern game? Come on, come on.
They're playing
Oh, you got
Iowa.
they're playing at Iowa. Man, if you want to see
29.
a 2-2 final score where both teams score safeties, go watch that game. But the cheapest ticket going back, this is actually a pretty good game. Actually, going back to the conference USA, you have the UAB, the Alabama Birmingham Dragons, I think, against the Florida Atlantic Owls. Tickets as cheap as $3. Also, for some reason, Coastal Carolina versus Marshall is on the NFL Network. Don't ask me why.
That's actually a good game too.
I don't think there's any team. I don't think any of those players on those two teams, aside from maybe Grayson McCall, are going to be going to the NFL. Anyway, let's get to shockers of the week. Do you have your shocker? Because I do.
Well, I'll go ahead and fire away with yours. I'll keep
All right.
looking.
I came into this as I usually do. No, nothing. I'm kind of looking through again real quick to see if there's anything better. Right now, I'm not seeing it though. Give me. But actually, they're coming off a bye. Screw it. Give me the Washington State Cougars at home versus the Utes. I love me some Utah Utes. I think they're a good football team, but at Washington State can be a tricky game. It's a 7-point spread. I like on the at 7-point home underdogs. So give me Washington State in the game. I think they can definitely win.
All right, that's a good pick. I like that one. Oops, I put that in wrong. Yeah. So for mine, as I was looking, I am going to go with the one I originally had. It's not in our picks this week. So it's not in the games that we'll be picking, but as I was looking through, I ended up recognizing that Fresno State is an 8.5 point favorite against San Diego State. And Fresno State lost to UConn.
God.
So
Hey,
I'm taking San Diego State.
hey, whoa! I can't stand Tennessee slander. I can respect UConn slander, however. Come on, man. They beat Central Connecticut, Fresno State, and the dumpster fire that is FIU. Ain't no disrespect for the Huskies, but that's actually probably a pretty good pick because they really kind of do stink. Anyway, let's move on to our actual picks for the week. We are going to be starting in the Pac 12, where we will have the number 10 USC Trojans going on the road to take on the Arizona Wildcats. USC is an 88.7% chance to win. They are 15.5-point favorites in the spread. Over under is 76. I kind of want to go to this game just to watch USC in person because I think that'd be pretty fun. It's only a 2-hour drive to Tucson, but I also don't want to miss the Michigan State game. It's starting at the exact same time. But as much as I love me some Arizona Wildcats, I think they can make it interesting because those later games in Arizona can always trip some teams up. USC comes in here and wins. Is probably going to make the Pac-12 championship. I don't think I have them losing another game, with their only real tough one being UCLA. But pretty good. I'd say like maybe 15. That 15-point spread's pretty good.
Yeah, so we don't have Sam with us today, but we do have his picks. I don't have a shocker, but maybe he'll send that in at some point during the video. He has the USC Trojans, obviously, and so do I. I love this USC team right off the bat. I thought that'd be really good. Of course, they had a bit of a slip up against Utah on the road. Actually, this past week I believe was their bye week because I believe they're 6-0 going into that Utah game. So USC coming off a bye, looking for a bounce back. They'll get it big time in Tucson. Give me a big win over Arizona here.
All right, and now we go back. Now we go to the Big Ten for a very interesting game. This will get interesting. You've got Illinois on the road taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Illinois has a 68% chance to win. They're 7.5-point favorites in the spread. Over/under is 50. I know Illinois is coming off a bye week, and so is Nebraska, I believe. Yes, Nebraska is also. Both teams coming off bye weeks. It's going to be loud at Memorial Stadium because this is one of their last big games they have. I think Nebraska could very well pull an upset, but I won't let them score too many points. Will run all over them. So I have Illinois in a very close game, but this one keep an eye on for a top 25 upset. I don't even think Nebraska's that good, but Nebraska Stadium gets loud.
Yeah, they're a rowdy bunch over in Lincoln, and they are going to be rowdy for this game. Illinois is not used to this. They're not used to being a good team, and they're not used to going into big environments like this and big time moments. And this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but Nebraska is only a game out of the Big Ten West right now. They're 2-2, and Illinois is 3-1. So if Nebraska wins this game, they theoretically could be winning the Big Ten West. Yes, that is a true statement.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god.
So this has a lot of implications, more than you would think. And I think this is going to be actually a really good game. Nebraska no longer with Scott Frost, and immediately when they seemed to get rid of Scott Frost, everything changed after getting swamped by Oklahoma, as they're able to beat Indiana and Rutgers, who, yes, are the bottom feeders of the Big Ten East. But hey, it are still wins. A win's a win. Who cares how you get it? And that's 2 wins in the conference, of course, being 2-2.
They were competitive with Purdue.
That's true as well. They were very close on the road against Purdue, so I think this is going to be a really good game. This is going to honestly be a big test for Illinois too. They've already had plenty of tests this year, but I think Illinois is going to sneak it out. Their defense has proved again and again that it's for real, and I love Chase. What this Illinois team reminds me of is Iowa, but with a better offense. Iowa's team from last season, but just with a little bit of a better offense because I like Chase Brown better than Tyler Goodson that Iowa had last year, and I certainly like Tommy DeVito better than Spencer Petras or Alex Padilla. So, because at least, DeVito's not the greatest thrower, but he can at least run the ball. He's at least a threat to run with the football. He's mobile, which, makes him a threat as a runner as well, which is always nice to have. And like I said, he's not a great thrower, but every once in a while he'll make a play through the air. But Illinois is obviously a heavy run team, which is exactly what Iowa was. This Illinois team gives me many shades of Iowa from last season, but I think they're even better yet than that Iowa team. So give me Illinois, but it's going to be a fun game.
Exactly. All right, and now we move to the ACC, where we've got the shockingly 3-4 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who picked up both wins against Duke and Pitt, which was not expected. Florida State, you will have a 99.9% chance to win for Florida State. Florida State is a 24-point favorite. Over under is 40. Is how is this number 18?
Hmm.
Oh gosh. Okay, 24-point favorite. Yeah, give me Tallahassee. Yeah, give me them boys from Tallahassee to swamp Georgia Tech. I don't know if they'll cover 24. That's a lot of daggone points. But give me the Seminoles. I'm not gonna overthink this one.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has had some weird upsets this year and some games that really just don't make any sense at all. This is a really weird team considering how Georgia Tech has been playing. I mean, they have 3 wins, and like you said, they're against Duke and or no, is it against Duke? Did they beat? Well, I know they beat Pitt, but I don't know the other
They
ones.
beat Duke and Pitt.
Oh,
They beat Duke 23-20 in overtime. I watched the end of that game. That was I think directly after the Tennessee Alabama game. So I was like half paying attention because I was still like processing the end of the Tennessee Alabama game. So I went from the best game of the year to watching Duke Georgia Tech.
but Georgia Tech has been honestly, and it's kind of like the same situation as Nebraska. Ever since they fired their head coach, like in Nebraska fired Scott Frost, and immediately things seemed to turn around for Georgia Tech. They fired whatever it was, Jeff Collins, I believe, was the head coach, and immediately it seemed like everything did a 180. I mean, they just lost last week, of course, to Virginia. But like you said, they beat Pitt and they beat Duke, which are solid teams, and they weren't even competitive against Clemson at the beginning of the year. So I think this Georgia Tech team is in a much better place, but this is in Tallahassee, and as much as also weirdly, Georgia Tech is still very much in contention for the ACC Coastal. I'm taking Florida State in this one. In Tallahassee, I think the Seminoles get a bounce back. They've been obviously on the crapper for a while. They're looking for a way to bounce back big, and I think it'll be this week. And I actually forgot to do Sam's picks. He had both Florida State and Illinois for these past two.
All right, and now we move to the SEC. Backs on the road against the Auburn Tigers. Auburn is actually a 56% chance to win. This is why I don't trust ESPN FPI. Arkansas is a 3.5-point favorite. Over under is 61.5. See, right here is where I'm debating picking an Auburn upset because I mean they've looked at least competitive against some pretty good teams, whereas Arkansas has beaten the teams they're supposed to beat and looked not great against the teams that were much better than them. I still think I'm going to take Arkansas because I was thinking about taking Auburn, and then I saw Robbie Ashford's stat line of 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and I'm going to go with the guy who has 14 touchdowns and 1 interception, and a much better football team. So give me the Razorbacks, though I can see this being a sneaky game.
Yeah, this game over at Jordan Hare, Arkansas, on the road. Sam's pick for this is actually Auburn. He has the Tigers.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I mean, they looked competitive against LSU and Ole Miss.
Yeah, and for me, I'm taking Arkansas. I've watched enough of Auburn to know this team is not good. I've seen Arkansas play, and they've been a little sloppy, but to me, Arkansas I think is a better team. They have their offense is very good. It's got very good players all across it. Now they had, of course, a couple struggles some weeks, but I think people forget that KJ Jefferson was actually hurt during that time too. So they're missing their starting quarterback, and we're trying to play through that, and obviously it didn't really work. KJ Jefferson, though, he's back now. The defense with Arkansas still isn't good, but Auburn's play calling and their head coach Brian Harsin is a moron. They need to fire Brian Harsin before it gets any worse at Auburn. And until they get rid of him, I'm not picking Auburn. I have no faith in that team. I have no faith in Brian Harsin. I think all Auburn has seen enough of him, and I think his days in Auburn are limited. So I give Arkansas to win here.
All right, and now we've got the Rutgers Scarlet Knights on the road against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota is a 14-point favorite, 88.5% to FBI, and 41 is the over-under. Even without Tanner Morgan, I'm still taking Minnesota, though he has not been ruled out. I highly doubt they're going to rush Tanner Morgan back against Rutgers. To be fair, I don't think they're going to, if he's not ready to play, I don't think they're going to force him to come out and play against, Rutgers at home. But even without him, I think they still win. So give me Minnesota.
All right, and that's what Sam has as well. He has the Gophers getting the win at home against the Scarlet Knights, and yeah, that's what I'm going to. I don't care if it's Cadillac Macbis or whatever.
Don't even. Yeah,
I heard him pronouncing it, and I'm like, what? Whatever the guy's name, whatever the backup was who was playing against Penn State. I don't care if it's that guy. Rutgers is is a poor man's version of Iowa from this year. They don't have an offense, and their defense is average. It's not good. The Rutgers is just going to struggle. It's also in Minnesota. I think the Gophers bounce back.
Earlier today we were talking about how Arizona State, Colorado is the Pac-12 Poop Bowl Part 2. Well, honestly, any game between ACC coastal teams is going to be considered an ACC Poop Bowl. We had Part 1 last week of Virginia, Georgia Tech. And now we've got it again with the Miami Hurricanes and the Virginia Cavaliers. Miami is a 54% chance to win. They're 2-point favorites in the spread. Over-under is 47.5. I don't feel comfortable picking either of these two teams. I think I'm gonna pick Virginia because they're at home and they didn't turn the ball over 8 times against Duke. I probably would have picked Miami, but the fact that they turned the ball over 8 times against Duke 4 times in each half is kind of really bad. Yeah, I'll take the Cavaliers. I don't feel comfortable with it, though. It's just going to be ugly football. This is going to be ugly football.
We might be picking this game, but viewer discretion for this game is highly advised. It's going to be a bad game. It's definitely one I won't be watching, but it will be competitive because of how, this is one of those games where it might be so bad that it's good. You know what I mean? Sam's going the same way. He has the Virginia Cavaliers. I really don't want to pick either one of these teams because Armstrong has been awful this year, and Miami has been awful this year. Heck, I don't even know if Tyler Van Dyke is going to start this game. He's been that bad. And yeah, Miami at home turned it over 8 times against Duke, which is brutal.
Against any team, much less Duke.
Yeah, that just Duke alone. Duke looks actually decent this year.
They are decent, but I saw a stat that said when Miami basketball played Duke, they had less turnover.
No.
When they played, Miami basketball had less turnover. They had 6 turnovers in their game against Duke versus in football, Miami had 8 turnovers.
Oh my. Alrighty, well. I really don't want to pick either one. I guess for the sake of being different, I'll take Miami.
And our two fantasy ACC teams ain't looking too good.
Yeah, boy, don't remind me I picked that crap team.
Hey, I picked Virginia too. I'm in the same boat.
At least, I mean, I have Pitt as well, I guess, and they're still
Man, I could have
competing.
taken Syracuse. Every like 4 or 5 years, I'm just gonna start picking Syracuse and hope it's their like one year they go with 10 wins or something stupid.
Yeah, but
All right,
I'll take Miami for the sake of
all right.
being different, and also they were the team that were like highly anticipated to be really good coming into the year. I think they have the better coach. I don't know if that will really matter in this game. I'm just pulling for anything here. I'm taking Miami to be different.
We're going from an AC no offense is going to be able to be played to where we're going to a Big 12 game where absolutely zero defense is going to be played. We have the Baylor Bears on the road against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech is a 50.8% chance to win, so very close. Only a 2.5 point favorite in the spread. Over under is 63.5. Picked Texas Tech earlier in the year at home against Texas. Lubbock is loud. Give me them Red Raiders in a like 66-61 shootout because neither of these teams can stop anything.
Yeah, the Big 12 is well known for its offense, and they are not known for any defense whatsoever. Sam also has Texas Tech getting a win at home in this one. Yeah, this game is going to be a matter of who has the ball last. I believe Texas Tech's coach, their head coach, actually is a former Baylor coach. I believe he was the former linebackers coach for the Baylor Bears. So a little bit of some history there, I guess, between the coach and Baylor. Should be a good game. Well, not should be. It will be a good game. Both of these teams will put up plenty of points. 50-50, you know what? I'll just be, for the sake of being different again, I'll take the Baylor Bears. Because I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, now we go. The Sooners on the road against the State Cyclones. Iowa State is a 62% chance to win. FBI. Oh my gosh. Oklahoma's a 1 point favorite, only a 1 point favorite in the spread. Over under is 56. Iowa State can pull an upset. They can. Um, I don't think they will. I think ESPN's FBI's. I think the reason it's like that is because it's overreacting to the Texas and TCU games, which yeah, fair. Those were pretty bad, but they didn't have Dylan Gabriel. Well, Gabriel for portions of the TCU game. I didn't watch that. Was it at least kind of competitive before Dylan Gabriel went out and then all hell broke loose?
I don't know when he got out, but if it wasn't before the first quarter, then no.
Oh, okay. Well, to be fair, TCU is the best team in the Big 12. Close loss to Kansas State, and then no Dylan Gabriel. And then they came back against Kansas and dropped 52 points with Dylan Gabriel. So, I think they're. Look, I think it's safe to say they're a little bit better with Dylan Gabriel than without Dylan Gabriel. And Iowa State's not that great. They just like to fumble at the worst moment. They like to play close with everybody and then fumble the game away at the worst moments. Not literally fumble, but make stupid mistakes. But give me the Sooners in this one. I still don't think Iowa State breaks through just yet in the Big 12 because I think Oklahoma's looking to bounce back. Obviously, they can't take many more losses.
Yeah, Sam also has the Sooners on the road in Ames, Iowa. And for me, Oklahoma is your textbook Big 12 team. All they have is an offense, and they do not have a defense. Their
No, they do not.
defense does not exist. You ask you could ask an Oklahoma fan about defense, and it'd be like, defense never heard of her. I mean, there is no defense to speak of in Norman this year. And for Iowa State, they're the oddball in the Big 12. As so far they have not even won a game in the Big 12, and they're the lone team that actually plays defense in the Big 12, and their offense isn't that special. So this is going to be a matter of how many points can Iowa State put on Oklahoma's defense, because they're going to have to win with their offense, so they're going to win this game. I don't think they can. I think Oklahoma's gonna get the win here. It'll be an interesting game, I guess, but Iowa State's not been good. Uh,
Exactly.
give me the Sooners.
All right, and we've got the number 7 TCU Horned Frogs going on the road to West Virginia. West Virginia, or TCU is a 67.9% chance to win. They're a 7.5 point favorite. Over under 69. This was one I was debating taking as my shocker,
Mm.
just because I feel like West Virginia could pull an upset at home. Granted, they're coming off of a very not great performance, losing 48-10 to Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's not.
They did beat Baylor in an absolute shootout, which was a fun game. But all I'm gonna say is JT Daniels, you might want to sit this one out, just considering the fact that the last 3 games that TCU has played, the quarterback has gotten some kind of shaken up. Dylan Gabriel out for a couple games. Spencer Sanders was shaken up for a lot of the game after getting knocked around, and Skylar Thompson. Not only Skylar Thompson going out, or not Skylar Thompson, Adrian
Adrian
Martinez going down,
Martinez.
but then Will Howard also going down with injuries. So yeah, they're kind of the quarterback killers apparently. But I'll take the better team. I'll take TCU in this one, but could be fun. The TCU's I think TCU's in for a letdown here one of these games.
Yeah, it's gonna get interesting for the Horned Frogs here soon. Well, especially with this game. Sam also has TCU, by the way. He has the Horned Frogs in Morgantown. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. TCU, really for most of the year, we had seen TCU and we're going, okay, yeah, this team has really good offense, but they don't have any defense, so they look like your everyday Big 12 team. But then, they came up against teams like Oklahoma State and really even Oklahoma, but that was without Gabriel. But against Oklahoma State and with Kansas State, both teams, when they needed their defense to step up and make plays, they did that. Especially these past 2 weeks, they got down big. They are down by 17 against Oklahoma State, down by 14 in the fourth quarter. Defense stepped up, made some stops. TCU comes back, ties against Oklahoma State, wins in double overtime. You go to the Kansas State game, immediately gets down by 18. Defense makes a bunch of plays. TCU comes back, wins that game on a 28-0 run at the end. Their defense has proved that it honestly is not bad. It's made plays when it needs to. Now, they've obviously had bad moments because they've given up 40 points to Oklahoma State and 28 to Kansas State, but this defense has proven that if it needs to step up and make plays, it can do that. Which makes me really believe more in TCU than I did before. Because when I saw them before, I'm like, oh yeah, they're just a normal Big 12 team. They're gonna get blown out if they get to the CFP. But now I'm starting to see, hey, their defense might not all be all that bad. So I think this should be a decent game because it is a road game, and TCU past 2 big games has been at home. We'll see how that translates going into a road atmosphere. I think the last road game might have been Kansas, but I give TCU the slight edge here. Should be interesting.
Wow, their defense is playing good. Now they're only going to lose by 28 points to Georgia instead of 56. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, TCU. Great story. Great story. Love you guys. Love you guys totally. Anyway, we've got the 15th ranked Ole Miss Rebels on the road against the Texas A&M Aggies. Both teams looking for about chance to win. They're 2.5 point favorites in the spread. Over under is 55. I will take the upset here because it's a 7:30 game at Kyle Field. I feel like the Aggies are going to win. I feel like it's going to be a slugfest of a game where there's not going to be much offense played. I think the A&M defense is going to make Jackson Dart's life not fun. I think this is like a 24-20 like SEC slugfest under the lights. But give me the Aggies. But I'm not confident in it. Not confident in it.
All right. Serbenski goes to the bold pick. Sam stays safe. He takes Ole Miss at Kyle Field. This should be interesting because obviously Texas A&M came into this year with huge expectations. And Ole Miss is coming off their first loss of the year against LSU. Which can anyone explain to me what this LSU team is? Can anyone explain to me? I mean, really, I don't get. They go from losing 40-13 at home to Tennessee to winning 45-20 against Ole Miss. Like, where does that come from? It's like you just suddenly flip a switch and you're like, "Yep, we're gonna play like a top 15 team this week." It's like, yeah, where'd that come from? I mean, show some consistency here, guys. Come on now. But really interesting thing, specifically with both of those teams, LSU and Ole Miss, and both are in, of course, the SEC West. And interestingly enough, if Alabama isn't on its bye this week, and so is LSU. If Ole Miss and if Alabama, the Alabama's next two games are at LSU and at Ole Miss, and both teams have only one loss in the conference. So if they don't win if they don't win both of those games, whichever one of those teams wins could end up winning the West and taking it over Bama.
That's an F.
So that's those are going to be huge games in these next 2 weeks. So definitely some big ones for Alabama. But anyways, back to Ole Miss, Texas A&M. This should be a really good game. I think Ole Miss will get back on the winning track, though. This A&M team just continues to disappoint. Their offense looks pathetic. And their defense has been up and down. I mean, it's looked decent at least, but they also got trounced. But they were getting trounced by South Carolina. Gave up 30. I mean, South Carolina's decent, but they're not great by any stretch. I would say. I think it'll be decent, but Ole Miss, I think, with the offense gets the edge here.
All right, we move on to my soccer. The Utah Utes on the road against the Washington State Cougars. Utah has a 78.5% chance to win. 7-point favorite for the spread. Over under is 55. I'll take Utah on the pick at least. I do think they're the better team, and I think they're more likely to win. But I think there's a good chance for an upset, which is why I took Washington State as my shocker. But officially, I will take the Utes.
All right, and for Sam, he also has Utah in the win on this one. He has the Utes winning in, I believe it's Pullman, Washington, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
All right, and then for me, this is gonna be another shootout. This is gonna be a Big 12 game in the Pac-12. Utah is not a team that really has played any defense this year. They really haven't. Obviously, this Utah team is very dependent on Cam Rising. Both teams are actually dependent on a Cameron. Utah's dependent on Cameron Rising, and Washington State depends on Cameron Ward. So we'll see how both QBs play, but I think that's going to be the story of the game, which QB has a better game. I'll go with Utah. It should be a really close game. I could definitely see Washington State getting the edge here, but I'll give the slight edge to the Utes on the road.
All right, and now we move to the ACC, where we've got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons taking on the Louisville Cardinals. All right, so we've got Wake Forest a 48% chance to win. Louisville's actually a 51% chance to win. Wake Forest is -4 in the spread, and over under 62. Wake Forest is one of the two teams that is ranked number 10 this week for some stupid reason. I don't know why we have to share spots. Could you really not decide who is better between USC or Wake Forest? Anyway, moving on. Yeah, give me Wake Forest. I've never really trusted this Louisville team. I've never really liked this Louisville team. Yeah, I still believe in them. They beat Pitt and Virginia. I don't think either of those two teams are great. So yeah, give me Wake Forest in this one. Give me the better team, and they're going to drop a lot of points on Louisville.
Yeah, Wake Forest and all is a big time Big 12 team. They don't care about their defense, and that's what Sam has. He has Wake Forest at Louisville with the win. Should be a really good game, honestly. I could see this being one of those really close ones. Like if you remember last year when North Carolina got the upset over Wake Forest, when North Carolina was at home. That's what I could see this game potentially being because Louisville, Malik Cunningham is a very good quarterback. I love Malik Cunningham. He has serious amounts of talent, and with Wake Forest once again not having a defense, that could create problems considering Cunningham's talent. However, Louisville doesn't really have a defense either. So it's gonna be once again, it's gonna be a battle of the QBs. Which one plays better, Sam Hartman or Malik Cunningham? I go with Sam Hartman. I think Wake Forest overall has just been a little bit better. I think they have a little bit of a better offense. There's actually weapons around Sam Hartman. It kind of seems more like Malik Cunningham's trying to do everything by himself because there's nothing around him. Wake Forest actually has something surrounding Sam Hartman, so I'll give Wake Forest a close win here.
All right, now we move on to the JMA Wireless Dome, but really the Carrier
Carrier
Dome, where we
Dome.
have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road against the 16th ranked Syracuse Orange. Syracuse coming off a big loss because Dino Babers cannot call a second half to save his life. Because for some reason, when your running back is 5 for 50, has 5 yards, you decide, let's just start throwing it when we have an 11-point lead. For some reason, you don't try to run the clock out with, your running back who's been outstanding. But I digress. The coaching staff is terrible at making play calls. You got Syracuse versus Notre Dame. I think it's going to be a lot of the same as what we saw last week at Clemson, except it's going to be in the Carrier Dome and it's going to be loud. I think the Syracuse defense is going to force a lot of Fighting Irish turnovers, at least a couple. I'm definitely hitting the under on this game, even though it's set at 48. These are two teams that don't score the football super often. So it's going to be a very low-scoring game, but I think Syracuse has the better team, has the better defense, and has the better running back in Sean Tucker if they decide to run with him. And they also have a pretty good mobile quarterback in Schrader who, can make a pass every now and again and then will make the stupidest pass you've ever seen in your entire life. That's the Garrett Schrader experience. If you see him make two beautiful plays, you're like, oh no, a turnover's coming in a play or two, and there it is. But yeah, give me Syracuse all day, every day. Come on, man. I picked them on the road against Clemson. I'm gonna pick them at home against Notre Dame.
All right, that is where Sam is going. He has Syracuse over Notre Dame in this one. And that's probably where I'm going to. Notre Dame.
The way you were talking, I thought you were gonna pick Notre Dame.
No. This Notre Dame team has been very much disappointing this year. They have not played well. QB room's not special. Really, they only have a solid defense. And this is also at Syracuse. I think this is a perfect game for the Syracuse Orange to bounce back and bounce back big. This Notre Dame team has not looked good. It has not looked pretty. And I don't trust them. And I certainly trust Syracuse, even if their play calling is not very special compared to Notre Dame's pathetic players. So I'll take Syracuse.
All right, now we go to the SEC where we've got the Florida Gators playing the Georgia Bulldogs. You've got Georgia's a 92% chance to win. The spread is 22.5-point favorite to Georgia. Over under is 56.5. Georgia. Sorry. I think Georgia rolls in this game. I don't know if they cover 22.5 because that is a lot against a decent Florida team. But I'm gonna take Georgia. I think it's a safe bet.
yeah. I would think so. That's where Sam is going to. He's got obviously the Bulldogs over the Gators, and obviously this is a huge rivalry, as is the one directly below it, and we are all hoping that does not go poorly. Um,
Oh.
but but this is a huge rivalry game. 3:30 CBS always is. Always played at the Jaguars Stadium. Honestly, I think this will be fun. I think Florida, they have a solid team. Their offense is honestly pretty good and is going to give the Georgia defense, a test. The Georgia defense is going to have to play well in this game. Otherwise, Florida's going to keep scoring and is going to keep up with Georgia. The only issue I see for this game for Florida, if they somehow want to pull off an upset, is their defense. Their defense has not been good this year. Their defense has been getting shredded this season. And while Georgia's offense hasn't been necessarily stellar, we saw a season where their offense wasn't necessarily stellar and they won a national championship. So their offense doesn't have to be fantastic to win this game. So I think Florida definitely has a chance in this game, and I honestly don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think they'll give Georgia a bit of a test because it's a rivalry; anything's possible. But I'll still take the Bulldogs. Obviously, I would take number one in the country, but I think it'll be a good game. Definitely one to see.
Yeah, all right. Well, we move to the Big Ten where we've got the ABC primetime game, the Blue Out. Where now that Penn State has done the whiteout, literally every team decides they're going to take one of their team colors and make one of their games a color out. This is their second one. But we've got the 3 and 4 Michigan State Spartans on the road against the 4th ranked Michigan Wolverines. Obviously, huge rivalry, state championship. Michigan's a 90% chance to win. Spread is 22 points. Over under is 54.5. I know we don't have Calvin's pick, but I know he picks Michigan State. On paper, Michigan wins 100 out of 100 times. Michigan could have come off a streak of blowing out Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan State could come off a streak getting blown out by Akron, UMass, and UConn. And I still would not feel confident in Michigan winning the game. I will never feel confident in Michigan winning the game, considering my first ever experience with this rivalry was a freaking buffed punt. That was the first ever Michigan State game I watched.
No.
Ever since then, I've learned to never trust Michigan in this game. That being said, of course I'm going to pick Michigan. Am I picking them to cover 22 points? No. Never in my right mind would I pick them to cover 22 points against Michigan State. Can they? 1,000%. Should they? Probably. Will they? I'm not confident saying that. But give me the Wolverines. If they lose this game, our should not be here next year.
That's us Michigan fans for you. Cautiously optimistic.
You cannot lose at home to this Michigan State team. If you lose at home to this Michigan State team, you're just cursed.
Yeah, obviously Sam has obviously also taken the Wolverines in this one. Last year, this was a really good game because Michigan State actually had a running game, and their running game was absolutely ridiculous because it was Kenneth Stinking Walker, who ran through every defense for like 300 yards.
After the Breece Hall injury, is now first in the race for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL.
Yeah, because Penny got hurt and he's out for the year, and so now it is Kenneth Walker, who's the only guy at Seattle, and I love it because I wanted to see Kenneth Walker from the beginning anyway, because Penny never stays healthy. But this Michigan State team, it clearly is missing the run game. I mean, obviously they got a couple transfers in. They got themselves a guy from Wisconsin, Jalen Berger, and then they got Jared Broshek from Colorado, and they're expecting those two would combine, or at least those two combined would equal, or at least be close enough to what Kenneth Walker was, and that it would suffice for them. And it clearly hasn't. It's been more of Peyton Thorne trying to carry the Michigan State offense, and clearly that hasn't worked. And it's not going to work today. or at least in this game. At least I hope it won't work in this game. Uh, this
Or he's gonna come
Michigan
out
State team.
throwing it around like Patrick Mahomes. He's just gonna transform into Patrick Mahomes.
That would be very aggravating. But this Michigan State team, so far, it hasn't been good. Now, obviously, Michigan fans are always terrified when they have to play Michigan State because when I mean that this is Michigan State's Super Bowl, it is their literal Super Bowl. They don't care. This is a game where they don't care if they lose every single other game on their schedule. If they beat Michigan, that makes their year. So this is it for them. They don't care if they even win our division or, like I said, they lose every other game. If they beat us, that makes their season.
They could lose. They could lose. They could not even go to a bowl game and they'd be happy.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care as long as they beat Michigan. And yeah, I'm picking the Wolverines though. They're clearly the better team, and well, let's just pray it doesn't go wrong on national television.
Exactly. And now we go to a rare top 5 group of 5 game, which I've been thinking now that I'm doing group of 5 stat sheets. I kind of want to do like a my own like group of 5 segment where I just dish out the beef between these group of 5 teams because it's fun. But anyway, we've got the 20th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats going to the bounce house to take on the UCF Knights. UCF's a 60% chance to win. The spread is even. There is no spread right now on this game because it's an even pick right now, and the over-under is 56. Last time I took UCF in the bounce house, it didn't work out so well for me. But I'm still taking them again. Cincinnati has not impressed me yet this year. They play decent. They're a good team. They definitely deserve to be a top 25 team. But they haven't looked amazing. They struggled with South Florida. They barely beat SMU last week, which I mean was on the road against SMU is a pretty good team. But still, I give me the upset in this one. Give me the Scarlet Knights. Or not the Scarlet Knights. That's Rutgers. The Golden Knights.
Golden Knights. There you go. Sam's going with the safe pick. He has Cincinnati with the win in Orlando at the bounce house. I have the trendy upset. I have UCF in this one. Just like you, I have not been impressed by Cincinnati. I mean, their one loss, of course, comes at Arkansas right at the beginning of the year. They also get the advantage of playing in Crud American Conference, and like you said, they had a close call with USF. They had another close call with SMU, which SMU was supposed to be a good team, but really they haven't played all that well. They got killed by this same UCF team. So, obviously I don't think SMU is like a bad team, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily great. And they nearly lost to SMU. And now they're heading to the bounce house, which UCF people are rowdy. They're crazy over in UCF. Those people always get loud in the bounce house. I love the UCF coach. Gus Malzahn knows what he's doing. I think, and I'm not a big fan of Cincinnati's team overall, and especially their quarterback. He's a former Eastern Michigan guy. I give UCF the win. This is a team that is very built on speed. I think UCF gets a good win here.
All right, you got the Pitt Panthers on the road against the North Carolina Tar Heels, 21st ranked. North Carolina, 67% chance to win. The spread is 3. Over-under is 64.5. This would be a game that North Carolina would lose, right? But even if North Carolina loses this game, they're still the front runners to win the ACC Coastal. That's how bad the ACC Coastal has been. If they get through this game, they're going to be Coastal champions. It was like Clemson last week. If Clemson got through Syracuse, they're going to be Atlantic champions. They just got to win one more ACC game. They just can't lose to both Louisville and Miami. And if Clemson loses to both Louisville and Miami, I would be shocked. But give me North Carolina in this game. They have the best player on the field, Drake May, who has 24 touchdowns on the season, which is absolutely bonkers. North Carolina is a better team. They have the best player on the field. So, and they're at home, so
Yes, number 21, North Carolina Tar Heels in the top 25. This is Sam also has North Carolina for this game. He has the Tar Heels at Chapel Hill. This game was looking even bigger when Pitt was 4-2 heading into that Louisville game. If Pitt had won that, it'd be 5-2, which would make this game even bigger yet. But instead, they lose at Louisville, dropping them the 2 losses in the conference, which they're still right there with North Carolina. I mean, they need North Carolina to lose again, but they're still not out of it. And this honestly should be a decent game, but and North Carolina doesn't have a defense, so that could definitely help out a Pitt offensive line that literally has had no protection for Keaton Slovis this year. So I think this is going to be a shootout type game, and give me North Carolina. Their offense has been good this year. It'll be close, but I got Tar Heels.
Exactly. All right, and then we go to the Kentucky Wildcats on the road in Neyland Stadium against the Volunteers, where they will be wearing some really sick-looking blackout uniforms. I just saw today. They're going to look awesome. I'll pull them up. But Tennessee's an 82% chance to win this football game. Spread is 12.5 points. Over under is 63.5. So here's what I'm saying. So give me Kentucky in the spread. Okay, this is a game where Kentucky's gonna muck it up. Give me Tennessee to win by like 10 points. I don't think they cover 12 though, just because I think this Kentucky team can just make the game super messy, which is all they want to do. So I think they'll stay together in the spread, but I don't think they beat Tennessee, especially not in Neyland Stadium. But these are the uniforms. Those are nice. I love any kind of black alternate uniform, especially if it's black and orange. Oh, I get it. They're wearing orange and black 2 days before Halloween.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
I think they're gonna do it in their stadium too, instead of having like the white and orange checkers. They're gonna have black and orange checkers.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's where Sam is going as well. Sam has the Volunteers in the win here. Kentucky has Will Levis back, which is a game changer. Will Levis was already back last week when they played Mississippi State, or was that 2 weeks ago? No, that was last week. Was it two? Oh, did they play last week then?
Maybe they did. No, because that Mississippi State and Alabama played last week.
No, so then they were on bye, I think.
They might have been.
Anyway, this is okay. But this Kentucky team, I like him. I love Will Levis. I do like Will Levis. He's a very good thrower. This Kentucky team they have a stingy defense, which is going to test the Tennessee offense. We're really going to see, what they made of, because Kentucky, in terms of the SEC, if you look at all the different stats, they are the second best defense in the SEC, right behind Georgia, of course, who has given up like points to literally no one. But Kentucky has a stingy defense. They're a tough team. Obviously, it's Mark Stoops over there in Kentucky, good head coach. I see this being a very close game. I think it's going to be really darn good. As much as I want to pick Kentucky because I can't stand the Volunteers, I'm going to take Tennessee. But it should be a really good game. I think the Wildcats are going to make it very close and very tough. But Hendon Hooker has yet to have a bad game. So give me Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Okay, I didn't expect Tennessee to be this good. I will say that. I was on the Tennessee, they're going to be 8-4, 7-5. I was not on the Tennessee beat Alabama train. But you know what? Whatever. We move on to the Big 12, where we've got the Oklahoma State Cowboys on the road against the Kansas State Wildcats. Oklahoma State 54% chance to win. Kansas State's a 1.5 point favorite. The spread over under is 56. This game is entirely dependent. I never thought a game would be so hinging on Adrian Martinez. But this game hinges on the fact that if Adrian Martinez is playing. If it's Will Howard, Oklahoma State wins the game. If it's not Will Howard and it is Adrian Martinez, I think it's going to be a very good game. It does say Adrian Martinez is active currently, so I think this is going to be a very fun game. I think this is very much a good chance for an upset. But you know what? I'll throw my dislike of Oklahoma State to the side. I don't really dislike them for any reason. I just have always thought they were overrated. But give me Oklahoma State to go on the road and beat a pretty good Kansas State team in a close game. Though if Adrian Martinez plays, it's going to be a very fun game.
All right. Sam is actually taking Kansas State in this one. Kansas State, I believe it's Manhattan, Kansas. He has the Wildcats getting the win at home. This is gonna be a really good game, and this is a huge game for Big 12 positioning. Both teams are very much in the race for the Big 12. Both Oklahoma State and Kansas State both only have one loss in the Big 12. So whoever wins this game will be a team who's directly behind TCU, who has beaten both of them already. So
they're one loss in the Big 12. Both of it's to TCU.
Well, Kansas State has two because they also lost to Tulane.
Well, I meant Big 12 losses.
Oh yeah. But this is gonna be a fun game. Personally, I really like the Oklahoma State team because I really like Spencer Sanders. When Sanders is on, it's very hard to beat this Oklahoma State team. And I did watch Kansas State up against TCU. When the TCU defense started playing well, Kansas State could not move the ball, and that team was not special. I don't think Kansas State's a bad team per se, but I wasn't all that impressed. They looked, like I said, they looked okay, but nothing to write home about. And this Oklahoma State team, I really like the way they play. I mean, this defense has been a little sloppy this year, but their offense has been on point all season long, pretty much. They have not really missed a beat. I got Oklahoma State in a close game on the road.
All right, and we move on to the game of the week. We will have at 12 o'clock Eastern Time the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes on the road against Penn State Nittany Lions, 13th ranked. Ohio State's a 79% chance to win, 15.5-point favorites in the spread, over under 61. I'd be more inclined to pick Penn State if this was under the lights. It's not. Ohio State's a better team. I thought Penn State was a pretty good team. I mean, I still think they're a pretty good team. They did beat up Tanner Morganless Minnesota. That loss to Michigan is ugly. Like, I know Michigan's number 4, but that isn't. It was in the big house, but that is ugly how bad you played in the second half. And if Travion Henderson, or even no, he's not even playing really well, right? It's Mayan Williams who's better, right?
I think it's been the two of them, but they both are.
If their running game can get going, C.J. Stroud's going to have all day to throw. And I was talking about Drake May having a lot of touchdowns. Their C.J. Stroud is to calm, chill, 28 touchdowns. But, yeah, I give me the better team in this one. I give me the Buckeyes to go in there and comfortably beat Penn State.
Yeah, that's what Sam has as well, of course. He has Ohio State on the road at Happy Valley. Big Noon Fox, of course, for this game, unsurprisingly so. Ohio State, the second straight week of being on Big Noon Fox. Kind of like Michigan, they had 4 weeks in a row on Big Noon Fox. Now Ohio State has had 2 in a row. That's got 2 more to get to us. But this is going to be a fantastic game, honestly. This Ohio State team, I don't really think has been all that tested this year, except for week 1. And Notre Dame does not look good. So that win looks way less impressive at this point in the year. And other than that, probably the best team that they played this year is either Iowa or Wisconsin. Both of which looked terrible. And both of them were home games. So this is by far Ohio State's biggest test of the year. As for Penn State, they played, of course, at the big house and got the living crap beaten out of them.
Actually, wouldn't you say at? I think at Michigan State. The Michigan State beat Wisconsin. So on the road against a team that beat Wisconsin, I'd say that's a trickier. It's not saying much. Don't get me wrong, but I'd say that's probably their toughest game anyway.
Which is also not saying, like you said, which is also not saying much.
not saying much, but still, you gotta give Michigan State their flowers. It was the hardest game Ohio State's had to play yet.
Right. I think this is going to be a really, really darn good game. This Ohio State defense is going to have to figure out a way to stop was a nasty rushing attack for Penn State. They have a very good running game. Sean Clifford's pretty darn good. Has been pretty darn good running the ball, throwing, but he can. Penn State is very good running the football. We're really going to. I think this is going to be a really fun game because even though it is not a night game, I've seen so many times when Ohio State and Penn State got together and it was supposed to be a blowout, and still Penn State made it close and the Buckeyes could not pull away. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I so badly want Penn State to win because, of course, nobody here likes Ohio State. This is a good rivalry and should be a really fun game. I do think Ohio State will have the edge, but I won't be surprised if Penn State were to come out with this win. I think they're a good team. I think Michigan I guess, is just really stinking good because I don't know how on earth we demolish Penn State like that. But Happy Valley is another animal. And I think it's going to be a very close one, but Ohio State finally proves they can beat good teams as they get a close win at Happy Valley. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. That was Mitch, Jacob. Enjoy your weeknight of college football and check out our NFL picks coming up here shortly. So,
Yes, sir.
have a good one. Peace.